The night was silent inside the ruins. Cold air moved through broken walls, carrying the smell of dust and rust. The explorer walked slowly, his boots pressing against the cracked stone floor. His helmet light cut through the darkness, showing old carvings, broken machines, and strange alien symbols. He had searched many dead worlds before, but this place felt different. Heavy. Lonely. His radio was quiet. His ship waited outside on the surface of the barren planet. He should have felt safe. There were no life signs here. No movement. No sound. But something inside the ruins whispered danger. His hand rested on his weapon. His eyes searched every shadow. Then he heard it. A sound. Faint. Weak. Like a breath. Like someone trying to whisper through the silence. The explorer stopped. His chest tightened. He turned his helmet light slowly, sweeping the beam across the cracked walls. Nothing. Only stones and broken alien statues. He thought it was his mind playing tricks. He took one more step forward. The sound came again. This time it was clear. A cry. Soft. Shaking. Full of fear. His heart raced. Who could be here? This world was empty for centuries. The ruins were dead. But the cry was real. He followed it, step by step. His boots echoed against the cold floor. His light cut deeper into the dark. Finally, he reached a corner where the walls opened into a hidden chamber. The air was colder here. His light caught something strange. Metal, shards, wires, and the remains of a broken pod. It looked like a machine once used for sleeping, maybe for travel or for experiments. Now it was broken, half buried under dust. Inside the shattered pod, something moved. The explorer raised his weapon, fear pulling his finger close to the trigger. But when the light fully revealed the figure inside, his breath stopped. It was a girl, not human. Alien. Her skin pale with a faint glow, her hair tangled and silver like strands of light. Her eyes half open, shining with strange color, blue and violet mixed like fire and water. She was shaking, weak, almost broken. She had nothing. No clothes, no protection. Only a thin layer of dust covering her fragile body. She looked at him. Her lips moved. A whisper escaped, words he did not understand at first. Then slowly in broken human tongue, "Help. Me." The explorer froze. His mind screamed questions. Who was she? Why was she here? Was this a trap left by something else? He looked around the chamber. The broken machines hummed with faint power. Strange red lights blinked for a moment, then died again. He felt as if the whole ruin was watching him. The girl tried to rise, but her body collapsed back. She was too weak. Her hand stretched out, toward him, trembling, desperate. He could see the fear in her glowing eyes. Fear, but also hope. Hope that he might save her. His training told him to leave, to report, to walk away before danger swallowed him too. But his heart said something different. She was not a soldier, not a monster. She was a child of tragedy, alone in a dead world. He stepped closer. The dust moved around his boots. The air grew heavier. His helmet light flickered as if the ruin resisted his choice. He leaned down, his hands shaking, and reached for her. The moment his fingers touched her skin, the ruins came alive. Alarms screamed through the dark halls. Red lights burned across the walls. Machines hidden in the shadows began to move, gears grinding, metal crawling back to life after centuries of silence. The explorer pulled her into his arms, lifting her fragile body. She clung to him with what little strength she had left. He whispered, "Hold on." But deep in his mind, he knew he had just stepped into something far greater than himself, something dangerous, something no human had faced before. And in the silence between alarms, one thought burned inside him. This girl was not just lost. She was hunted. The escape. The alarms screamed through the ruins. Red lights flashed against the cracked walls, filling the air with a ghostly glow. The explorer tightened his grip around the alien girl. She was cold and light, her body weak, but her glowing eyes looked at him with fear that pierced deeper than the alarms. Metal scraped. Somewhere in the shadows, old machines came to life. The ruins had been dead for centuries, but his touch on the girl had awakened something. Guardians, protectors, hunters. Whatever they were waking now. The explorer pulled his weapon free. His helmet scanned the chamber. Shapes moved, in the red light. Metal arms, crawling legs, black bodies rising from the floor like insects made of steel. Their eyes glowed white, then red, fixing on him. "Damn," he whispered, his voice tight. He turned, holding the girl close, and ran. His boots slammed against the stone floor. Behind him, the machines screamed, a sound like broken metal grinding against itself. They began to chase, crawling across the walls, their claws cutting deep lines in the stone. The girl clung to his chest, too weak to speak. Her breathing was shallow. He could feel her fear shaking against him. He whispered, just hold on." He dashed through the halls, his helmet light bouncing across symbols and statues. He had mapped the way in, but now every hallway felt different under the flashing red light. The ruins shifted. Passageways that were open before now seemed blocked by moving walls of metal. One of the guardians dropped from the ceiling in front of him. It looked like a spider, tall as a man with blades for legs. Its red eyes locked on him. He raised his weapon and fired. The blast shook the hallway. The machine screamed, sparks flying from its body. It collapsed, but two more crawled. From the shadows, he fired again. His shots hit one, breaking its chest open, but the second leapt forward. Its claws swung. He twisted his body, protecting the girl, and the claw scraped his armor, cutting deep. Sparks flew. His HUD flickered, but he kept running. Every step echoed like thunder. The alarms followed him. The machines followed him. The ruins were alive, angry, hungry. Finally, he saw the faint glow of his ship's beacon through the cracked stone archway ahead. He pushed harder, forcing his legs to move faster. The girl opened her eyes for a moment and looked at the light. Her lips moved, whispering something he couldn't hear over the alarms. Then the floor shook. The ground beneath him split open. A massive guardian rose from the darkness, a giant machine, taller than the hall, with 4 arms made of blades. Its head turned slowly and its eyes locked on him. The other machines stopped, waiting as if this was their leader. The explorer's chest tightened. He had seconds to decide. He looked at the girl, her eyes glowing faint, filled with pain. He thought of leaving her, of throwing her aside to survive. But then he remembered her first word. "Help." "No," he whispered. "I won't leave you." He pulled a grenade from his belt, armed it, and threw it at the giant's chest. The explosion filled the hall with fire and smoke. The blast shook the walls, dust falling from above. The giant staggered but did not fall. Its red eyes burned brighter. The explorer ran through the smoke, clutching the girl tight. He sprinted past the machine while it was blinded. The exit was close now, just a few more steps. Outside, the night sky was black and endless. His ship waited on the barren ground, its ramp open, engines glowing faint. He dashed toward it, his legs burning with every step. Behind him, the giant roared. The machines poured out of the ruins, their metal bodies shining in the red light. He reached the ramp. He stumbled inside, nearly falling with the girl in his arms. The ship's AI recognized his signal. The ramp closed, sealing them inside. "Take off," he shouted. Engines roared. The ground shook. The ship lifted into the air just as the machines reached the ramp. Metal claws slammed against the hull, but the ship pulled higher, fire bursting from its thrusters. The explorer collapsed into the seat, still holding the girl. She looked at him, her lips trembling. For the first time, she whispered clearly in broken human tongue, "They will not stop." The words chilled him. His eyes turned to the scanners. The machines had stopped at the ruins, but signals flared, deeper in space. Ships. More enemies. They had felt her awakening too. He stared at the girl. She was weak, broken, and yet important. dangerous. The alarms in the ruins were not the end. They were only the beginning. Her silence. The stars stretched, wide outside the ship, endless and cold. The explorer leaned back in his seat, his chest rising and falling as he tried to catch his breath. His armor was scarred, his body sore, but he was alive. Beside him, wrapped in a thin emergency blanket, the alien girl sat quietly. Her eyes were open, glowing faintly, but she spoke no word. The engines hummed as the ship climbed higher, leaving the ruined planet behind. The explorer glanced at the scanners. No machines followed them yet, but he could feel it. Danger was not gone. The girl's weak warning still echoed in his mind. They will not stop. He turned his gaze to her. She sat still, small and fragile against the seat. Dust clung to her silver hair. Her skin looked pale, too pale, like it had not touched light in years. She shivered now and then, clutching the blanket tighter, but her eyes stayed fixed on the stars. He tried to speak. "Who are you?" His voice was low, gentle. She did not answer. He tried again. "Do you understand me? My name is Rian. I'm human. I won't hurt you." Her lips trembled as if she wanted to reply, but no sound came. Instead, she lowered her eyes and pulled the blanket tighter, like a child afraid of the dark. The explorer sighed. He was no stranger to silence. He had seen survivors before, broken people after battles, too hurt to speak. This girl was the same. Her silence was not emptiness. It was pain. Deep pain. He stood and moved toward the storage compartment. He pulled out a ration pack and a bottle of water. He set them near her. "Eat. Drink. You need strength." For a long moment she only stared at the items, unsure. Then, slowly, her thin fingers reached for the water. She drank, hands shaking, the sound of her swallowing loud in the quiet cabin. She took a bite of the ration, chewing weakly as if her body had forgotten how to eat. Ryan watched her, his eyes heavy. Who was she? Why had she been locked away in that ruin, left with nothing? And why did machines awaken the moment he touched her? The silence pressed on him like a weight. He hated it. Silence meant questions with no answers. Finally he spoke again, softer this time. "What happened to you?" The girl froze. Her glowing eyes rose to meet his. For the first time he saw the truth inside them. Not just fear, but sorrow. Sorrow, so heavy it could break worlds. Her lips parted. She whispered one word, her voice cracked and faint. "Lost." Ryan's chest tightened. He leaned closer. "Lost? Who? Your people?" The girl's eyes filled with tears. She nodded once, then looked away. Rian sat back, silent. He had guessed it already. She was not just abandoned. She was the last of something. A survivor of a tragedy so great it had stolen her voice, her hope, her strength. The ship hummed around them. Outside, the stars shifted as they moved through the void. Hours passed. She did not speak again. She ate little, drank little, and then curled into the seat, her eyes half closed, staring at nothing. But even in her silence, her body trembled, as if she feared closing her eyes. Rian watched her while the ship drifted. He could not explain why, but he felt something heavy inside him, an urge to protect her, though he barely knew her. He had seen many strange things in space, fought battles, lost friends. But this girl, she was different. When she finally drifted into sleep, Ryan turned back to the controls. The scanners flickered. Signals pulsed faint at the edge of range. Someone or something was searching. The machines were not the only ones. He clenched his fists. The girl whispered in her sleep, her voice shaking. The words were broken, but he caught fragments. Fire, screams, gone, all gone. His heart sank. Her silence was not just fear. It was memory. A memory too painful to speak aloud. He knew then that this was only the beginning. The threat revealed. The ship floated in silence, carried by the endless dark. Ryan sat at the controls, his eyes fixed on the glowing scanner. The weak signals he had seen earlier were now stronger, clearer. Someone was out there. Someone was looking for them. Behind him, the alien girl stirred in her seat. She woke slowly, her glowing eyes reflecting the starlight outside the viewport. For a moment she seemed calm, but then her gaze froze on the stars. Her body stiffened, her breath sharp. She whispered something in her broken tongue, too quiet for him to understand. Ryan turned. "What is it? What do you see?" Her hands gripped the blanket tight. She shook her head, refusing to answer. But her eyes, those strange bright eyes, were wide with terror. Ryan felt a chill crawl through him. He turned back to the scanners. The signals pulsed again, closer now, like echoes bouncing across space. They were searching. They were hunting. He tapped the console, pulling data on the girl. The ship's AI scanned her weak life signs: heart rate unsteady, oxygen levels low, body damaged from long stasis. But something caught his eye. Her DNA was unlike anything he had ever seen. Human records had files on hundreds of alien races, but none matched her exactly. Her genetic pattern was rare, full of locked codes and sequences, and yet, one section was highlighted. Ryan leaned closer. The AI's voice broke the silence. Subject classified. Illyrian. Status extinct. Last recorded presence 200 years ago. Ryan's eyes widened. Illyrian. He remembered the word. He had read about them once, an old file from the war academies. A species destroyed in a great purge. Strong, intelligent, gifted with something humans had never understood. They were gone. Wiped out. But here she was. One still alive. He turned to her. She was watching him carefully now, as if she knew what he had discovered. "You're Illyrian," he whispered. Her eyes lowered. She did not deny it. His chest tightened. No wonder the machines had woken the moment he touched her. No wonder someone was searching. She was supposed to be dead. Her entire people erased from history. If she survived, then she carried secrets no one else had. Secrets others would kill for. The scanner beeped again, louder this time. Ryan looked at the screen. Multiple ships were entering the system. Small signals at first, then growing stronger. "They found us," he muttered. The girl's breath shook. She leaned forward, clutching his arm. In broken human tongue, she whispered, "No safe. Nowhere safe." Ryan stared at her, then at the scanners. She was right. Whoever was out there, they would not stop. They wanted her alive, or dead. It didn't matter which. He turned to the controls, plotting a jump to a safe system. The engines roared faintly, charging for warp. But the signals on the scanner moved faster. They were closing in, tightening like a net. Ryan gritted his teeth. His ship was built for exploration, not war. He could outrun patrols, maybe even fight off raiders, but this? Whoever was hunting her, they had resources, technology, power. He looked at her again. She sat silent, her glowing eyes fixed on the stars. She seemed so fragile, so broken. Yet in her silence was something else too. A weight. A secret she carried. Finally, he spoke. "Why you? Why are they after you?" She turned her head slowly. For a moment, she did not answer. Then with a voice barely louder than the hum of the ship, she whispered, "Because I am the last." The words cut through him like a blade. The last Illyrian. A living treasure. Or a curse. Before he could speak again, the ship's alarm blared. Enemy craft had locked onto them. Red warnings filled the screen. Ryan's hands flew over the controls. "Hold on," he said, his voice hard. The engines flared as the ship dived into the void, trying to escape. But as the stars blurred around them, Ryan knew the truth. This was not just about saving her anymore. This was about surviving the hunt of an entire galaxy. The chase. The stars outside twisted into long streaks as Ryan's ship jumped into faster-than-light travel. The engines roared, metal shaking as though the ship itself feared what chased them. Inside the cabin, alarms screamed, red lights flashing across the panels. Ryan gripped the controls, his jaw tight. He had outrun raiders before, dodged pirates and smugglers. But this felt different. The ships chasing them weren't random scavengers. They moved with precision, with purpose. They wanted her. The girl sat strapped to the seat beside him, her small hands gripping the armrest so hard her knuckles turned pale. Her glowing eyes stared into the blur of stars. But Ryan knew she wasn't watching the stars. She was watching the shadows behind them. The scanner beeped. Ryan cursed under his breath. They're still on us. Fast ships. The girl trembled. In broken words, she whispered, "They always follow. Never stop." Ryan didn't need the reminder. He already knew. Whoever these hunters were, they had tracked her across ruins, across time, across death itself. They wouldn't give up now. The ship jolted as a warning shot cut across the void behind them. A beam of red light slicing, dangerously close. Ryan swore, pulling the controls hard. The ship spun, diving through a cluster of frozen asteroids. Giant rocks drifted in the dark, glowing faintly from reflected starlight. He pushed the engines, weaving through the asteroid field. Chunks of ice and stone slammed past the ship, close enough to scrape the hull. One mistake, one wrong turn, and they would be crushed. But it was the only way to shake the hunters. Behind them, the pursuing ships followed. Small, sharp, like blades of metal cutting through space. Their engines burned bright red. They were faster than his ship, but less steady. The asteroids slowed them. Ryan gritted his teeth, pushing harder. He twisted the ship between two massive boulders, scraping past a sharp ridge. The girl gasped, holding onto her seat, but she did not scream. Her silence was sharper than any cry. The scanners beeped again. Two ships had broken formation and were circling around. They wanted to trap him inside the field. "Not today," Ryan muttered. He armed the ship's cannons. Red lights blinked on the console. As the nearest hunter closed in, Ryan fired. The shot burst across the asteroid, breaking it into a storm of fragments. The explosion filled the dark with flying debris. One hunter ship slammed into the fragments, its hull cracking, fire spilling into the void. The girl flinched at the blast. For a moment, her eyes glowed brighter. She whispered something he could not understand, a word in her language. The other ships kept coming. Faster, smarter. Ryan's breath came heavy. His ship shook under the strain of the engines. The fuel levels dropped fast. He could not keep this up forever. Then the scanners flashed with new signals. More hunters waiting outside the asteroid field. A full squadron. The girl's voice broke through the noise. Soft, weak, but certain. "They want me, not you." Ryan turned to her, anger in his eyes. "Not a chance, I'm not handing you over." Her eyes filled with sorrow. "They kill, if you stay." He didn't answer. He couldn't. Instead, he forced the engines harder. The ship screamed, metal straining as he darted between the last of the asteroids. The open void spread before them. The hunter ships were waiting, 10 of them forming a line, weapons glowing red. Ryan's chest tightened. He had no way through. The girl's hand touched his arm. He looked at her. Her eyes glowed brighter now, not just faint light but sharp, strong fire. For the first time he saw something inside them, power. Her lips moved. One word. "Trust." Ryan hesitated. "Trust you with what?" She closed her eyes. Her body shook. Then, the air inside the cabin changed. The lights flickered. The scanners went wild. Energy pulsed from her, filling the ship with a strange vibration. Outside, the stars themselves seemed to bend. The hunter ships paused, their weapons faltering. Ryan stared at her, his breath caught in his throat. The weak, broken girl was no longer just a victim. Something inside her was waking, and the galaxy would not forgive it. Her power. The cabin shook as if the ship itself feared what was happening. Ryan gripped the controls, eyes wide, while the alien girl sat beside him. Her body glowed faintly, her silver hair lifting as if caught in invisible wind. He had seen many strange things in his life. Storms that swallowed planets, weapons that could cut ships in half, but nothing like this. The hunters outside slowed. Their red weapons ready to fire flickered out one by one. Their scanners, strong and precise, now spun wildly. The space around them twisted, bent, like a river of glass breaking. The girl's eyes opened, no longer weak, no longer trembling. They blazed with light, blue and violet, burning like stars. Ryan's breath caught. This was no accident. This was her. The girl raised her hand slowly. Energy poured from her fingertips. Not fire, not lightning, but something stranger. Something alive. It spread across the ship like a shield, wrapping them in glowing threads. Outside, the hunter ships fired again. Red beams sliced through space. But when they touched the shield, they broke apart, splitting like water against stone. Ryan whispered, "Impossible." The girl's lips parted. Her voice came clear now, though soft, as if every word cost her strength. "I protect, but only little time." Her voice was stronger than before, more certain, yet still heavy with pain. Ryan stared. This was why they hunted her. This was why the ruins had been guarded. The Illyrians had not just been another race. They were something far greater. And she was the last. The hunter ships moved in closer. One broke formation, charging, directly at them, engines flaring. It fired a torpedo that glowed red with deadly energy. The girl closed her eyes. The shield pulsed. The torpedo froze in mid-flight, held by invisible threads of light. Then, with a faint flick of her hand, the weapon turned around, flying back at the hunter ship. The explosion ripped the void open, fire spilling across the black sky. The hunter ship shattered into glowing fragments. Ryan's jaw tightened. By the stars. But even as he watched, he saw her hands shaking. Sweat glistened on her skin. Her light flickered. He leaned toward her. "Stop! You're killing yourself." Her glowing eyes turned to him, filled with sorrow. "If I stop, they take us." Ryan felt his chest tighten. She was right. Without her, they were dead. But with her, he could see the cost. Her body wasn't ready. She had spent too long in stasis, too long broken. Every spark of power drained her. The hunters regrouped. 8 ships remained, circling like wolves. They fired together now, beams of red energy slamming into the shield. The ship shook. Cracks of light formed around them. The girl screamed, her body convulsing. The shield flickered but held. Ryan rushed to her side, grabbing her shoulders. Her glow burned against his skin, but he didn't let go. "Don't carry it alone," he shouted. "Fight with me, not by yourself." She looked at him through the light, her eyes wet with tears. "You help?" Ryan nodded, even though he had no idea how. She reached out, pressing her hand against his chest. In that moment, he felt it. Her power flowing not just around him, but into him. His vision blurred. For a heartbeat, he saw through her eyes. Flashes. Memories. Her people standing tall, their cities glowing with light. Warships burning in the sky. Fire raining down. Screams. Darkness. Then silence. Her voice echoed in his mind. "They killed us. Because we are different, because we are strong." He gasped, pulling back, his body shaking. The bond broke, but the memory stayed. He understood now. The Illyrians had not been destroyed by chance. They had been hunted, wiped out, because their power threatened others. And she was the last proof they existed. The shield cracked again. The hunters fired endlessly, determined to break through. The girl slumped forward, her glow fading. She whispered, "I cannot hold." Ryan looked at the controls, at the hunters closing in, at the girl fading beside him. He clenched his fists. "Then I'll hold for you," he muttered. He pushed the engines to maximum, diving the ship into a dense nebula ahead. Clouds of ion dust spread like a storm, glowing with strange light. The hunters followed, but their scanners faltered. Inside the nebula, visibility was nothing but haze. The girl collapsed into the seat, breathing heavy, her glow dimming. Ryan reached for her, holding her hand gently. "You're not alone anymore," he whispered. "They'll have to go through me to take you." Her eyes opened weakly. She gave the smallest nod, her lips forming one fragile word. Together. Outside, the hunters circled the nebula like predators waiting for blood. The chase was not over. But for the first time, Ryan felt they had a chance because she was not just a lost girl anymore. She was power, and power always had a price. The nebula boiled outside the ship, clouds of glowing gas twisting like fire frozen in space. Ryan's ship hid in the storm, its engines quiet, its lights dimmed. The scanners flickered with static, struggling to see through the haze. But Ryan didn't need scanners to know the truth. The hunters were still out there. He could feel them, waiting, watching. Beside him, the alien girl lay weak in her seat. Her glow had faded, her body trembling from the power she had unleashed. Her silver hair clung to her face, her breathing shallow, but her eyes remained open. She looked at him, whispering softly, "They will come. Always come." Ryan's chest tightened. She was right. The hunters would never stop. As long as she lived, they would chase. And if they caught her, they would destroy her, or worse, use her. His mind raced. He could try to run again, but the ship was damaged, fuel low, weapons weak. Sooner or later, they would be caught. He looked at her. Fragile. Broken. Yet inside her was power greater than any weapon. The last Illyrian. A spark of hope. A danger. To those who feared her. He faced a choice. He could abandon her. Leave her here in the nebula. Let the hunters take her. He might live. He might escape. Or he could fight. Stand against ships stronger, faster, and deadlier than his own. A battle he could not win. His hand tightened on the controls. His voice was low, almost a growl. "I made my choice the moment I found you." The girl's eyes widened faintly. She shook her head. "You die if stay." "Maybe," Ryan answered. "But if I leave, I'll be dead anyway. Just a different kind." He pressed the comm switch, opening the external channel. His voice thundered into the void. "You want her? Then come through me." Outside, the hunters stirred. Ships broke formation, engines glowing red as they moved into the nebula. One by one, their weapons lit up, ready to strike. Ryan pushed the engines. The ship roared, tearing through the storm, heading straight toward the enemy line. The girl sat up weakly, clutching the console. "Why? Why help me?" Ryan glanced at her. Eyes hard but kind. "Because someone should have. Because no one else did." The first enemy ship fired. A beam of red light cut through the nebula. Ryan swerved hard, the ship shaking. He fired back, his cannons blazing. The blast struck the hunter's wing, sending it spinning into the gas clouds. But more came. 5, 6, circling, closing in. Ryan's heart pounded. He knew he could not fight them all. Then he heard her voice again. Stronger now, though still soft. "We fight together." Her eyes glowed. The light returned to her skin, brighter than before. She placed her trembling hand over his. The ship's panels lit with strange symbols, glowing blue and violet, Energy surged. His ship responded as if alive, faster, sharper, stronger. Her power flowed into the metal, into the engines, into the weapons. Ryan grinned despite the chaos. Now that's more like it. Together they struck. The ship moved like lightning, weaving through the nebula. Hunter ships fired, but their beams missed. Ryan fired back, guided by her energy, each shot hitting true. One hunter exploded in fire, another spun, broken into the gas. But for every one destroyed, more pressed in. The ship shook, its hull cracking. Warning lights screamed, the girl's glow flickered again. Her strength was fading. Ryan saw the pain in her eyes. She was burning herself away. He grabbed her hand tighter. "Don't you dare quit now." Her lips trembled. "If I give all, I die." Ryan froze, the words sinking into him like ice. He could see it, the truth. If she unleashed everything, she could destroy the hunters. But she would not survive. The choice was no longer his alone. It was hers. For a moment, silence fell between them. The storm outside raged. The hunters closed, and finally she looked at him, tears shining in her glowing eyes. "If I die, promise. Remember me." Ryan's throat tightened. He wanted to stop her, to beg her not to, but he saw the strength in her gaze. She was no longer just a frightened girl. She was Illyrian, the last of her kind. And she chose hope. She closed her eyes. Light erupted from her body, blinding, endless. The nebula itself seemed to ignite, waves of violet fire rushing through space. The hunters screamed, their ships torn apart, shattered into dust by the storm of her power. Ryan shielded his eyes, holding on as the ship was thrown like a leaf in a hurricane. The light consumed everything. Then silence. The nebula stilled. The hunters were gone. Only fragments drifted in the void. Ryan turned to her. She lay motionless, her glow fading, her chest rising weakly, alive, but barely. He leaned close, whispering, "You're not gone. Not yet. Not while I'm here." Her lips curved into the smallest smile. Her whisper was faint, almost lost in the hum of the ship. Together. Ryan gripped her hand, his eyes burning. He looked out at the endless stars, knowing the war was not over. More hunters would come, more battles would follow. But in that moment, he had made his choice. He would fight. For her. For the last Illyrian. For the hope she carried, and the galaxy would never forget.